Welcome back to Animal-Based In Your Face with Scott and Pam. Today we're going to be making 2 carb ice cream bites, but they can also be made to a 0 carb depending on the sugar substitute that you use. For this recipe, let's go over what you're going to need. These are actually candy molds that I got off Amazon. It comes in a set of 4. This is what the tops will look like once they're frozen. I'll put that link down in the description so you can easily find those. So you're going to need a baking sheet because they are flimsy. When you go to put them in the freezer, you can just pick them up. Without the baking sheet, your ingredients will just run all over the place. So make sure you have a baking sheet for your molds. I'm going to be mixing my ingredients in a glass measuring cup. You can use a bowl. It's just easier to pour because it has a pour spout. And then you're also going to need a whisk. If you use an immersible blender or a hand mixer, it makes it a little bit too foamy and frothy, and there's nothing wrong with that. They just get a little airy because of the bubbles. For this recipe, you're only going to need 3 ingredients. Heavy whipping cream. We use Simple Truth Organic Heavy Whipping Cream because it has no carrageenan in it. Carrageenan is known to cause stomach issues, digestive problems, gut problems. So when buying heavy whipping cream, be sure to read your ingredients so you know exactly what you're buying. You will also need pure vanilla extract and maple syrup. We use the organic 100% pure from Sam's Club. You can use a sugar substitute, but I will say that the maple syrup gives these ice cream bites the perfect flavor. Next, we're going to take our glass mixing cup and we're going to start mixing our ingredients. Our first ingredient is going to be 1 cup of the heavy whipping cream. Now these are the OXO brand measuring cups that we use. They have to be at least 5 years old. And the problem with most measuring cups is the numbers always wear off. As you can see, this one isn't wearing off. They have the rubber handle, which I absolutely love for grip. I'll put the link in the description for our favorite measuring cups. Our second ingredient will be pure vanilla extract. And we are going to do 2 teaspoons. I already have a teaspoon in there. Here's my second one. We're going to dump that in our glass measuring cup with our whipping cream. Our last ingredient will be 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. I already have 1 tablespoon in there, and here is my second one. Maple syrup has a lower glycemic index than natural sugar. If you didn't know that, we're going to pour that maple syrup into our whipping cream and vanilla mixture. Also, in case you didn't know, maple syrup is filled with vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. You can also use, like I said before, a sugar substitute. I have tried making this recipe with new stevia and had a very bad aftertaste. We didn't like it. I've also tried it with honey. It just wasn't sweet enough. So for us, we found that the maple syrup works best and gives it a delicious flavor. Now we're going to take our whisk and just whisk these ingredients together really good. It doesn't have to thicken. It doesn't need to foam. That's why I'm using a whisk. Just whisk them until they're thoroughly mixed. Now that everything's thoroughly mixed, let's go ahead and fill our molds. And this right here is why I'm using this glass measuring cup. Pours so easy, and I can control the flow. You're going to keep doing this until you fill all your molds. All of our mixture is poured into molds, and as you can see, that amount of ingredients perfectly filled my 1 tablespoon molds, and I have 12 total. Now, if you're wondering why I have another mold sitting here, I'm going to mix up another batch, and this time we're going to add another ingredient. For my second batch, I already mixed my 3 ingredients, just like on our first batch, and the only difference is I'm going to add 1/4 teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon. The reason we do not use store-bought cinnamon, which is known as cassia cinnamon, or some people may pronounce it casa cinnamon, is that it doesn't have as much coumarin in it. And what is coumarin? It's poisonous, and it's also linked to liver damage. So we purchased our Ceylon cinnamon on Amazon, and I would recommend that you check it out and get you some. Now let's add our cinnamon. The best way to know exactly which cinnamon you're purchasing, just turn over your package or your bottle and look at your ingredient list. The cheaper version of cinnamon that you buy at your local grocery store will just say cinnamon on the ingredient list. The Ceylon cinnamon will actually say Ceylon cinnamon powder on the ingredient list. Another interesting fact about Ceylon cinnamon and cassia cinnamon is that cassia cinnamon is grown in China, whereas Ceylon cinnamon is only grown on the trees in Sri Lanka. All right, here's our 1/4 teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon. Now next, I'm just going to go ahead and whisk this together really good. Remember, if you whisk it too much, it might get a little foamy. In order to whisk that cinnamon in really good, I had to go super fast. So here it is. I'm going to fill it in our blue mold. Time to fill these up. There's a lot of different things you can add to your mixture for your ice cream. Since we're animal-based, we don't do cocoa, but you could do cocoa powder also. You could do pretty much any flavoring that you want, and you can do any sugar substitute that you want if you don't want the maple syrup. I'm going to fill these up, and next we are going to the freezer. I have both batches in my molds. These are the plain vanilla. This is the same recipe with cinnamon added. Next, we're going to put these in our freezer for a minimum of 3 hours, and even overnight is great too. So let's get these in our freezer. All right, I carefully balance these and carry them out to my freezer in the garage. We're gonna leave these in here a minimum of 3 hours, and even overnight is great too. We'll check on them in just a little bit, and then we'll be popping them out of their molds, giving them a taste test, and seeing just how beautiful they are on the top. The ones with cinnamon will actually have a beautiful browning on them that I think you'll love. I just pulled my ice cream bites out of the freezer, and they're set. They've been in there probably about 5 or 6 hours because we were gone this afternoon. So now I'm going to take them out of the molds and let's see what they look like. This is the vanilla. Look at that. I'm just going to put them in an airtight container. I want to do one of each so you can see them both. This is the one with cinnamon, and look at that color. So keep taking them out of the molds quickly and put them in an airtight container, store them in the freezer, and then When you want something sweet to eat, just a small bite. These are perfect, or after dinner if you just like to cleanse your palate like my husband and I do. I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe. Take a bite of them. You're going to absolutely love them. And remember, they're very versatile. You can change the flavors so easily. And they're all turned out perfect. Until next time, be sure to follow us on Animal Based in Your Face. Subscribe. Click the bell so you get notifications when we post new recipes. And also follow us on Facebook in our support group. It's a private support group called Animal Based in Your Face Tribe.